Hello and welcome to today's Your Daily Five. I'm Tom Bowley, Chief Market Strategist of EarningsBeats.com, and I'm happy to join you on this Monday, August 10th. Let's take a look at a couple of things. I got several charts that I want to go over with you, but before we get into all of that, I do want to just point you to my website at EarningsBeats.com. We do have a big event this afternoon at 4:30 Eastern. It is our sneak preview of our top 10 stock picks. We do portfolios for our members over at EarningsBeats, and since inception, our model portfolio is up 117%. You can actually see this down here on the bottom of this page, but we're up almost 118% in about 21 months. The S&P 500 over the same period up 24.5%. So I'll be going into, in this webinar, how we go about selecting the stocks for our portfolios. This webinar is free. So just, mark your calendar for later today. And if you can join us, that'd be great. Just come in and you can click on this little link here to join. Also, while you're here, sign up for our free newsletter. All these free events we always announce to our EarningsBeats Digest crew. So you can type in your name, your email address, hit subscribe. There will be no credit card information required. You can unsubscribe at any time. But we do have this newsletter. It goes out 3 times a week. And I think you'll find some really educational material in there, and also some opportunities, hopefully some trading opportunities. So just go over to earningsbeats.com, check that out. Hopefully you can join me this afternoon at 4:30. All right, I've got a few charts for you today, and I'm going to start off with transportation stocks. I've done a lot of homework over the years, and what I can tell you is that when transportation stocks get going, usually the S&P 500 is going as well. It's always a good sign for the economy to see transports doing well. And what you can see here is that over the past few days, we've gotten a beautiful breakout here on transports above that June high. That's been a difficult area. That June high on the S&P was difficult for a while. We finally got through it. The Dow's trying to get through it now. But this transportation move through here is within the confines of this beautiful channel to the upside, and transports just look good. I see the volume picking up on this breakout. And maybe the most important part is down here at the bottom. You can see that we had a double relative top. This is transports relative to the S&P 500. And so when we made that last move in early June, notice that we had this relative high come right up to the March relative high, but we couldn't get through, and then we pulled back. This time is different in the sense of not only are we getting through the June high and in this nice channel, increasing volume, but we're also breaking out on a relative basis. And I think that's really important to note. Within the transports, I just put down here the truckers relative to the S&P 500. You can see this is the strongest area of transportation, and one that I would certainly be paying attention to. But airlines are picking up. Railroads definitely have been stronger than the airlines, but maybe not quite as strong as the truckers. But all of these groups are improving, and I love seeing the transports break out. Next chart I have for you here is I'm going to show you first the relative strength. This is a 3-year weekly chart of the delivery services index, which includes FedEx, UPS, divided by the S&P 500. You can see for the last few years we were downtrending, but look at what has happened here just since the beginning of July. That's when FedEx reported, and then more recently UPS reported blowout earnings, both of them. And the group overall has just exploded relative to the S&P 500. And if I go back over here and we go to this next chart, I'll show you that on the delivery services index, this is the absolute chart, not the relative chart, but the absolute chart. And here you can see the top that was formed back in January. Right now, we're trying to make this breakout today as we speak, trying to get through that high. But even if we don't, and we might fail, maybe we pull back one more time to that rising 20-day moving average. But you can see the strength and the amount of money that has been rotating into this group. I think it's a very, very powerful area of the market. And then here on a daily chart, you can see the relative strength of the delivery services group versus the S&P 500. That downtrend line has easily been broken over the past few weeks. And so this is a group that I would be concentrating on. Excuse me. So when we look at the two leaders in this space, UPS and FedEx, this is the relative ratio of UPS versus FedEx. I probably lean a little bit more toward UPS. I know FedEx is having a little bit better day today, but if you see, for about the last 20 months or so, we've been seeing UPS in an uptrend relative to FedEx. So now that the group is breaking out, we do see a little bit of a pullback here in the near term because UPS is underperforming today. But I think the overall trend here favors UPS over FedEx as we move forward. Third chart for today, let's look at the renewable energy space. Now, renewable energy had been mostly sideways consolidating. This is an incredibly volatile group. We had the double top back in August and September of 2019. February, we couldn't quite make that breakout, and then the pandemic hit, and we took a big drop in the renewable energy space, just like we did in just about every other area. Went down and tested this double bottom, held, and now we have come roaring back, but not just getting back to those levels we saw last summer, but actually breaking above it. So we've got another really big breakout on renewable energy. Relative to the S&P 500, it's nearing a breakout level. So this is something to keep an eye on. I just posted a couple of stocks here that I think have been trending very strongly versus their renewable energy peers. One is SolarEdge, SEDG. See the stock having a little bit of a rougher day, more of a rough recent period, but the overall trend here is clearly higher. Same thing with Enphase Energy, ENPH. So those are a couple of names that you might want to consider. If we go in and take a look at the longer term relative strength, and I'm talking about the 3-year weekly, that's where you can see this potential double top. Like to see get this breakout. But one of the things I look for is leading stocks within leading industry groups. And I think when you look at this stock or this group since March, there's no doubt this has been one of the strongest areas of the market. So I think it's just going to be a formality getting through that July 2019 relative high. But any kind of a pullback on a relative basis, I think, can set up very nicely for renewable energy stocks. All right, next up, let's take a look at home improvement. Home improvement, after the huge drop we saw back in March, along with everything else, huge rally back to break out in June, pull back, and notice now the rising 20-day moving average has been holding very strongly, and we continue to break out and move to new highs with the home improvement group. Relative strength since March has been off the charts, easily took out the 2019 relative high. So this is a group that's been very strong. One of the names that's been moving the group, struggling today, but has been very, very strong, has been Wayfair. So this is a company that I'd be following and watching, excuse me, very closely. Now, the long-term home improvements on a relative basis, this is that 3-year weekly chart, and you can see it's moving up, rising. The weekly PPO is very strong. I look for these moves where we've easily cleared the zero center line and just continue to move higher and breaking out recently to new relative highs versus the S&P 500. Those are the types of things that I look for. Then the final chart I have for you, let's go back and let's pull up the dollar index. Now, the dollar index is something that's important because it has an impact on how different areas of the market perform, especially materials and energy. But I want to focus on materials. So if we connect the highs in the US dollar index over the course of the past 9 years, you can see we've got this line that perfectly connects 4 or 5 different tops. If I drag that line down to the low, that first initial low in 2011, you can see this comes across, and this channel currently intersects with about 87.5. Double top occurred at about 88.5 right here, and we broke above, and look when we came back down, we tested 88.5. I think this area down here from a long-term perspective is going to be critical. I think we've already seen a breakdown, by the way, and I would call this more of an intermediate term breakdown. But if we connect the lows that we saw in 2011, 2014, 2018, we have now broken below that. And I think we could be heading, maybe we get a little bounce, but I think ultimately we could be heading back down just a little below 90. And that's going to be a big test for the dollar. In the meantime, if the weakness continues in the dollar, that's where I see materials potentially benefiting on a relative basis. Ever since we've been downtrending, you can see materials have been uptrending. I think we've still got room to the upside. We'll need to watch this relative downtrend line, though, for sure. All right, those are my daily five. Hope you enjoyed it. Again, later today, I'd love to have you join me over at earningsbeats.com. Talk about the top 10 stock picks and how we come up with those. And I think they can help to better your portfolio performance. Love to have you join us over at Earnings Beats. It was a pleasure joining you today on your Daily Five. Please remember to go to earningsbeats.com and sign up for our free Earnings Beats Digest newsletter and join me later today. Happy trading, everybody.
Hey, Grayson Rose here with StockCharts. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed that video. If you did, consider giving it a like down below, maybe leave us a comment, and if you're new to the channel, you can subscribe at the link up above. We're gonna bring you daily content from an incredible collection of technical analysts and financial experts.